A labor group expresses dismay over the final amount of minimum wage hike set to be implemented for workers in Metro Manila. Here's why from Nel Mariboho.
The Department of Labor and Employment formally announced the 25 daily minimum wage increase for workers in the National Capital Region.
The NCR Regional Board approved a 25 basic wage increase. The new minimum wage rate in Metro Manila shall be 500 to 537 across different sectors.
The Regional Wage Board approved the wage hike on October 30. This means that the new daily minimum wage rate in NCR will be 537 pesos from 512 pesos. The new wage order covers private sector employees, but the Associated Labor Union Trade Union Congress of the Philippines maintains the approved pay hike is too low compared to their requested 334 pesos.
Hindi sapat para bumili ng isang kilong pinakamurang NFA rice na nagkakahalaga ng 27 pesos. Napakaliit po nito. Makikreate ito ng tensyon sa loob ng pagawaan, sa loob ng mga pabrika, at eventually this will lead to strikes and picket sa mga factories and offices.
Jennifer Untod also says the pay increase is not enough to support her family's needs, given that her husband is only a construction worker.
May kaltas pa yun ng SS, pag-ibig. Pinakamalinis na napupunta sa amin yan, 350. Para siya 4 ang anak mo. 3 anak, 3 nag-aaral. May digatas ka pa. May special din akong anak, nagte-therapy. Hindi sapat yun talaga, sir. Kulang na kulang.
The National Wages and Productivity Commission says the amount of the new pay hike went through thorough deliberations by stakeholders.
Hindi mo lang kino-consider kung sapat sa pangangailangan ng manggagawa. You have to consider other factors like yung ding capacity ng management or employers.
Doon po sa pagdidesisyon ng board kung ano po yung amount na pwedeng ibigay ay tinitignan po lahat ng anggulo.
Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo also believes the approved pay hike is enough for now.
Perhaps as of presently, that is what they found out. That's enough. But I guess it's always subject to change depending on the economic conditions.
Apart from Metro Manila, the Wage Board also approved the increase in salary in some regions. In Region 2 or Cagayan Valley, the board approved 10 peso per basic wage increase, 12 to 20 pesos in Region 4B or Mimaropa. The new daily minimum wage rates will range 320 to 360 pesos in Cagayan Valley and 283 to 320 pesos in Mimaropa across different sectors. The new wage order will take effect 15 days after publication or on November 21. Nel Mariboho, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Department of Trade and Industry tells retailers and public markets to put proper price tags on their products amid declining commodity prices. Meanwhile, the National Food Authority says consumers may expect a much lower price of rice in the coming days. Grace Casin tells us why.
The Department of Trade and Industry accosted several vendors at Obrero Public Market for not putting appropriate price tags on their products.
Lagyan yung presyo, kundi isuhan nila kayo ng notice of violation. Lagyan yung price tag yung tinda nyo, ho.
Sumusunod naman po kami sa presyo.
During their inspection, Castello emphasized the importance of price tags to prevent traders from overpricing and taking advantage of the consumers.
Lahat ng paninda kailangan may presyo para sa kaalaman ng consumers, para walang deception, maiwasan natin yung pabago, paiba-iba sila ng presyo, naka-price tag dapat.
The DTI meanwhile says consumers should be informed that prices of chicken meat, vegetables and rice have already dropped. Currently, the price of chicken is at 120 pesos per kilogram. However, since there is no suggested retail price for vegetables, the DTI calls on consumers to report anyone who engages in overpricing. Meanwhile, National Food Authority Officer in Charge Thomas Escares says consumers may expect a much lower price of rice in the coming days. Currently, the SRP on rice still remains at 27 pesos per kilo for NFA rice, 39 to 47 pesos per kilogram for local well-milled rice, and 39 to 43 pesos per kilogram for imported rice. There is no SRP, however, for special rice. NFA says they're continuously monitoring rice prices in local markets against profiteering.
By November 10, ikot ulit kami, may mga penalty nang ibibigay tayo.
Meanwhile, the DTI guided consumers that SRPs on prime commodities are expected to be posted in grocery stores. As the holiday season draws near, the agency says prices of holiday products are now starting to mark up, such as mayonnaise, queso de bola, and ham. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Davao Congressman Carlo Nograles takes oath as the new cabinet secretary of President Rodrigo Duterte. Nograles will replace former Cabinet Secretary Leoncio June Evasco, who filed his candidacy as governor of Bohol in the 2019 midterm polls. Prior to his appointment, Nograles chaired the House Committee on Appropriations and was serving his third and final term as Davao City's 1st District Representative.
Evasco?
He enjoys the trust and confidence of the appointing power, the president.
When did the press?
Meanwhile, Malacañang neither confirmed nor denied reports that Senator Gringo Honasan has already accepted the offer to head the Department of Information and Communications Technology, or DICT. President Rodrigo Duterte orders the creation of an interagency task force on federalism through Memorandum Circular number 52. The task force aims to integrate, harmonize, and coordinate government efforts to raise public awareness on federalism and constitutional reform. It will coordinate with Congress to initiate the process of and address the roadblocks to constitutional reform. The interagency task force will be headed by the Secretary of the Department of Interior and Local Government. Its vice chair will be the Secretary of the Department of Justice, and the other 9 agencies will serve as its members. Meanwhile, the Transportation Department formally opens the country's first ever land port, which is expected to decongest traffic in Metro Manila. Joan Nano explains why.
After a long wait, the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange, or PITX, officially opens today. Strategically located along Coastal Road, Parañaque, PITX is the first integrated and multimodal terminal in the southwestern part of Metro Manila between provincial buses from Cavite, Batangas, and in city modes of transportation. It is expected to decongest traffic in Metro Manila by reducing the number of provincial buses plying EDSA and Taft Avenue, Pasay.
Tanggal na yung ibang mga terminals natin dyan sa loob ng Metro Manila, ang end effect niyan makakabawas din talaga sa daloy ng trapiko dito sa Kalahang, Maynila.
The terminal building includes 3 levels: departure bay for buses, jeepneys, and taxis situated on the ground floor, arrival bays for buses on the 2nd floor, and private vehicle facilities such as parking spaces, AUV bays, and a connection to the proposed LRT1 extension project situated at the 3rd floor. It is designed to accommodate almost 200,000 passengers daily.
You have here a facility that is world-class. So world-class that there are facilities that are beneficial to senior citizens like me and to persons with disability, and as well, lahat ng pasilidades sa technology nandito.
The new terminal is dubbed as the country's first land port for its airport-like modern facilities such as various retail shops, restaurants, automated teller machines, and large restrooms with showers for weary travelers who want to freshen up. There is also free Wi-Fi connection and a wide waiting area surrounded by closed-circuit television cameras or CCTVs. President Rodrigo Duterte himself led the inauguration of PITX today.
I am directing the DOTR MWM terminals to implement the necessary measures to ensure all transport vehicles will be using the PITX are roadworthy, that complies with our environmental laws and proper documentation as well.
The world-class terminal is a public-private project under the Build program of the Duterte administration. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Parañaque City.
Adjustments in mall hours have taken effect, especially in establishments near major roads in Metro Manila. Beginning Monday, mall along EDSA, Marcos Highway, C5 Road, and Commonwealth Avenue will open at 11 a.m. instead of the previous 10 a.m. schedule during weekdays. According to the Metro Manila Development Authority or MMDA, the adjustments are expected to ease the flow of traffic in the said areas, especially this holiday season. The newly adjusted mall hours will run until January 11, 2019. Five previous grand finalists of a Song of Praise songwriting competition will again enjoy the ASOP Grand Finals experience. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
In this year's A Song of Praise or ASOP Grand Finals, some previous grand finalists were lucky enough to reach the final round again. These include Emmanuel Lipio Jr., the composer of ASOP Year 6 song, Sapat Na Ba. Emmanuel is back this year for his entry, God Is With Us.
'Cause God is in you, God is in me.
Dahil minsan po pakiramdam namin mag-isa kami at dahil malayo nga po sa Pilipinas. Pero we never feel alone because we know that God is with us.
ASOP Year 2's awit ng mga awit composer Romel Goho returns this year for his composition Di Na Ako Aawit, which he wrote after his wife's death.
Di na ako aawit kung hindi ito kwento ng pag-ibig.
Intindihin na nangyari sa buhay natin, sa buhay ko. Pero at the end of the day, ano ba yung mas importante? It's how I think we please the Lord.
Meanwhile, the tandem of composer Oliver Narag and interpreter Jessamy Gabon of ASOP Year 3 song Kislap will compete this year with their entry Wag Kang Bibitiw.
Wag kang bibitiw, kapit ka lang sa aking kamay, di kita iiwanan.
Ito yung pinakamalaking ambag sa talento ko at sa pagkatao ko yung ASOP. Kaya napakasarap na makasama lagi sa ASOP.
Composer Joyner Dizon and interpreter Dan Villano of ASOP Year 6 entry Sumasamba Sayo also teamed up again this year for a song of hope entitled Makikita Kita.
Makikita kita, o Diyos na dakila.
Yung mismong merong free songwriting clinic 1 year, napakalaking bagay para sa mga songwriters. So sabi nga ni Doc mo, naalala ko, if you are going to think about praise music, ASOP po ang unang papasok sa isip ng tao. Ganun po siya ka-inspiring.
Also among this year's grand finalists is the composer of ASOP Year 5 song Pag-ibig Ka o Diyos, LJ Manzano. He was inspired to join ASOP again with his entry Banal Mong Salita.
Banal mong salita, ang iyong pangako.
To Kuya Daniel, Brother Eli, and sa lahat po ng bumubuo ng ASOP, you're such a blessing talaga sa amin. Not just sa mga songwriters, kundi sa mga singers na rin, and sa lahat ng tao.
ASOP Year 7 Grand Finals will be held at the New Frontier Theater, formerly Kia Theater, on November 11. Leslie Lomboan, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Flying V, Total, Caltex, PTT Philippines, and Pilipinas Shell have announced a 1 peso price cut for every liter of gasoline and 90 centavos on diesel starting at 6 in the morning on Tuesday. Caltex and Shell will also reduce their kerosene prices by 65 centavos per liter. At 6 a.m. today, Sea Oil, Eastern Petroleum, and Petrogas implemented a price rollback of 1 peso and 10 centavos per liter of gasoline and 1 peso per liter of diesel. Phoenix Petroleum also implemented the same amount of rollback on Sunday. This is the 4th consecutive week that oil firms have slashed fuel prices. Malacañang downplays reports on Beijing's operation of weather monitoring stations on its artificial islands in the West Philippine Sea. Rosalie Costal says why.
Malacañang is unfazed by reports that China has begun operating a weather observation center on islands it artificially created in the West Philippine Sea. Presidential spokesperson and Chief Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo says the report still needs to be verified, even if it quoted a Chinese official.
We have to get confirmation of that, since that is merely a news report.
Last week, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lu Kang stated that Beijing has begun operating a maritime observation center, a meteorological observatory, national environmental and air quality monitoring station in the reefs of Nansha Islands. Reports indicated that the weather stations are located on Fiery Cross, Subi and Mischief Reefs, which are also being claimed by the Philippines. The Chinese officials said these projects aim to intensify Beijing's civil services by providing maritime warning, tsunami forecasts, and other disaster prevention and relief. The palace assures the government will take action once the report has been validated.
The DFA will do its work and make the necessary diplomatic process.
Meanwhile, Malacañang has yet to get details on the joint exploration deal between the Philippines and China, which is set to be signed during Chinese President Xi Jinping's visit in the country on November. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacañang.
The Philippine National Police will not issue new permits to manufacturers and sellers of firecrackers this year. Let's find out why from Leah Ilagan.
The Philippine National Police will closely monitor the manufacturing, sale, and distribution of firecrackers and pyrotechnics devices ahead of the holiday season. PNP Director General Oscar Albayalde says they will no longer issue new permits for makers and sellers of firecrackers as mandated in the Memorandum Order 31st signed by President Rodrigo Duterte.
Wala nang bagong permit. Yun ang isa. Will not be issuing new permits for manufacturers.
Duterte's memorandum also orders the PNP and other concerned agencies to inspect and ensure that manufacturers, distributors, sellers, and users of firecrackers and pyrotechnic devices comply with the government's safety requirements. Licenses and permits of those found in violation of existing laws, rules, and regulations will be cancelled or revoked.
Yung mga existing, medyo titignan natin yung kanilang compliance to the existing rules, policies, rules and regulations on the manufacture and sale of firecrackers.
Republic Act 7183 authorizes the PNP to process applications for the issuance of licenses or permits. Under his memorandum, Duterte also ordered the PNP to confiscate and destroy prohibited firecrackers and strictly prohibit the import of such devices. Memorandum 31st is similar to Executive Order 28 that Duterte issued in June 2017, regulating the use of firecrackers and fireworks due to firecracker-related injuries and deaths. General Albayalde says the implementation of total firecracker ban is possible in the future when asked by the media about the limitations placed in its production. Leah Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
The Public Attorney's Office plans to upgrade their case filed before the Department of Justice against Health Secretary Janet Garin and other officials linked to the controversial Dengvaxia vaccine procurement. PAO Chief Persida Rueda Acosta has given PAO lawyers 1 week to study the possibility of upgrading it from homicide to murder and the determination of who among the 39 respondents may face the said charges.
Kung alam nila na nakamamatay ang Dengvaxia, abay hindi ka pabayaan lang to. Ito po ay isang murder. Guinea pigs! Ginawa nila sa mga bata. Experimental vaccine pa ito up to November 2017. Clinical phase 3. Phase 4 pa nga hanggang ngayon yan. Imagine ngayon lang sila nagpapa-approve sa Europa.
After not being able to attend the previous hearing, Garin submitted her counter-affidavit on the second batch of Dengvaxia complaints today. Meanwhile, international representatives from Sanofi and Zuellig Pharma were directed to submit their respective counter affidavits on November 15. The complainants were also ordered to submit the reply counter affidavit on the same date. The Department of Health pushes for an increased tobacco tax to avert the 1 million attributable deaths in the country. Majority of Filipinos approve the proposed increased tax on tobacco products based on the Pulse Asia survey. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
The Department of Health calls on the Congress for the passage of the proposed 90 pesos tobacco tax. Once the bill passes into law, a current 40 to 50 pesos cigarette pack will have an additional 90 pesos, which will bring it to 130 to 140 pesos per pack. DOH believes that once taxes on tobacco tax increase, this could help save lives of many Filipinos who get sick due to cigarette smoking.
Estimates show that if tobacco taxes are pegged at 90 pesos, around 1 million tobacco attributable deaths could be averted. Smoking prevalence could also be reduced from 21.6% of the population down to a target of about 15.7%.
Aside from averting tobacco attributable deaths in the country, this could also add to the funding gap for the Universal Healthcare Bill. Both houses of Congress have passed the UHC bill in the third reading. The bicameral conference is set to deliberate and merge the two versions. Once the UHC bill passes into law, 257 billion pesos will be needed to fund it for its first year of implementation to give Filipinos quality health care. The funding gap of 164 billion pesos will be coming from the sin tax collection. According to the WHO, establishing a universal health care in the Philippines is a win-win solution.
We will save lives through the UHC law, but also there will be economic returns for the population. We know that for every dollar that a country invests into UHC, there will be a 140% return in economy through savings and improved economic development.
Meanwhile, 67% Filipinos approve the increased tobacco tax based on the Pulse Asia Ulat ng Bayan survey last September. Respondents were smokers, former smokers, and relatives of smokers.
This means that 2 out of 3 Filipinos agree that cigarette taxes should be increased. The survey also highlighted that 64% will vote for electoral candidates who will endorse higher taxes for tobacco products.
The survey result also showed that Filipinos are more inclined to consider candidates in the upcoming elections who would push for Filipinos' health, particularly those who support the increased tobacco tax in the country. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The 2018 bar exams kicked off on Sunday with more than 8,000 bar takers. The National Capital Region Police Office has deployed hundreds of its personnel around the vicinity to ensure security. May Bermudez tells us why.
Just like the previous year, supporters trooped to the University of Santo Tomas to cheer and express support to law graduates taking this year's bar exams. The Supreme Court-administered examinations kicked off on Sunday and will happen on all Sundays of November.
Serves as inspiration to us to become one as well in the future.
54-year-old Edgar Mason hopes he will pass the exams after all his sacrifices.
9 years ko kinuha ito kasi yung trabaho ko, manufacturing sa wholesale. Siyempre, blessings kasi na-kon ako early retirement. Lahat na to help my family and to all the people who needs my services na lang. God's will na lang, blessing in disguise na lang gagawin ko.
Supreme Court Associate Justice Marvic Leonen visited UST to encourage bar takers to do well.
Eat well, sleep well, make peace with your God. Tapos huwag kayong magpanic. Take the exam one at a time.
Malacañang meanwhile reminds examinees that the real challenge in their legal profession is establishing its integrity and dignity. A total of 8,701 individuals will take the bar exams this year, the highest number of takers takers in recent years. More than 400 police officers were deployed around the vicinity for enhanced security.
Aside from the PF personnel, meron din tayo mga K9 dog or EOD na magche-check ng lugar to ensure na walang panganib na mangyayari, hindi lamang sa mga mag-e-exam o hindi na rin pati sa mga supporters nitong mga examiners at ganun din sa mga UST visitors.
This is to prevent chaos or violence like what happened in 2010 when an explosion injured 10 people at the De La Salle University, which was the previous venue of the bar exams. In 2015, a suspected bomb was also recovered in the vicinity, while in 2014, fighting fraternity members caused a commotion and a robbery incident was reported. May Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Disaster officials in the Cordillera region is looking to terminate on Friday the search and retrieval operations in the massive landslide that hit a part of Natonin town in Mountain Province. Victor Cosare tells us why.
16 bodies have been retrieved so far from Natonin Mountain Province, where a landslide struck a building of the Department of Public Works and Highways in Banawel Village last week. Natonin Mayor Mateo Chiawan confirms that 14 of the dead bodies recovered from the ground zero or the site of the landslide have already been transported back to their hometowns. The remaining 2 were brought to a funeral home in Ifugao to undergo identification process. The number of missing persons remains at 12. Chiawan says the massive search and retrieval operations will continue until Friday upon the recommendation of the Office of Civil Defense Cordillera and other concerned agencies. This is to make use of different support groups that are coming in the area and their other special equipment for retrieval efforts.
As pegged by Director Karandang ng OCD, hanggang Friday po, ma'am, yung massive ang stop, pero mag-continue lang ang local government unit.
Chiawan also reveals that teams will be distributed to several kilometers away from ground zero to expand the search.
Yung strategy na reroute yung strategy kasi yung distribute namin ng manpower hanggang sa 10 kilometers. We have analyzed the situation na baka nandyan sila from ground zero, below ground zero to 1.5 kilometers kasi halos doon matatagpuan yung mga na-retrieve.
Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Judiciary, PNP, and Malacañang teams are set to advance to the second round of eliminations while PhilHealth and DOJ crashed out of the 7th season of the UNTV Cup. Bernard Dadis tells us why.
Malacañang PSC Camao now leads the Group B after snapping their NHA Builders winning streak 63-62 in a heart-thundering match on Sunday at the Pasig City Sports Center. Joseph Pesa's 3-point shot in the last 29.8 seconds of the game and Eric De La Cuesta's fast break shot to Besa and Martin Antonio for an easy 2-point shot carried the Camao team to victory. Besa and De La Cuesta were hailed the best players of the game after giving a total of 31 points. With 3 wins and 1 loss, Malacañang is set to advance to the second round of eliminations.
Lumabas yung pre-practice namin. So pinagandaan talaga namin itong NHA na to.
Also moving ahead is 2-time champion Judiciary Magis after knocking the PhilHealth Plus out of the 7th edition of the Charity League 98-93. Warren Ibanez led the Judiciary with his 23-point finish and 6 rebounds with 4 assists and 7 steals, earning him the best player of the game title.
Maganda naman ang ininsayo namin, kaya yun, panay press ang ginagawa namin.
PhilHealth coach Delio Ceron says the team crashed out of the season after failing to sustain its force.
And siguro ang laps ng Team PhilHealth, hindi namin na-sustain yung energy.
Also getting out of the season early is the DOJ Justice Boosters after receiving a beating from Season 5 champion PNP Responders 89-77.
Mas condition sila eh. Yan na nangyari. Tapos nung huli, doon na lumabas yung yung composure nila. Para experience kasi champion team eh. So, doon kami nahirapan.
Best players of the game, Olan Umiping and Julius Criste, carried the PNP to victory after bucketing a combined 38 points.
Nahabol kami ng konti, still nung composure ng mga players ando doon eh. Kaya still nakuha pa rin namin ng panalo.
The recent win became the PNP's ticket to the second elimination round. Bernard Dadis, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.